Hey, welcome back to the channel. Fit into Lifestyle. Today we're going to discuss how I'm revamping my diet based on what I'm seeing so far. We've just crushed the first 3 weeks of this 7 week phase two. And if you remember, our goals were specifically to really lean up, but also bring up the body parts that were lagging. For me, my lagging body parts are my arms, my bicep, tricep, and my hamstrings for a really nice overall developed, balanced body. And I want to lean up so it really gives me that good X frame for that visual appearance. I can report back saying that my workouts have been incredible. I've been able to lift really well, focus on the muscle groups. I'm actually seeing more strength coming out of them. I have been able to put on a little bit of size in the first 3 weeks. Like, it's not going to be drastic. As all of you know, I'm doing this naturally. So it's not like I'm going to be able to put on 5 pounds of muscle a month. That's other channel stuff. I have no problem with that. But for me, that's not what I advocate on this channel. So we're going to go the route of the more natural bodybuilder. Like, I'm not even taking creatine at this point, no multivitamins. Get your blood work done. I get mine done, and it comes back pretty flawless. I'm not deficient in any irons. My liver, kidney functions are doing great. At my age, it's pretty damn good. Blood pressure's slightly high, like not dangerous high, but there's the optimal range, and I'm slightly above it. So nothing to be concerned about. What I have noticed is that this 3.5 months that I've been back in the more fitness regime, my blood pressure's come down enough that it's noticeable. Like, my sleep gets better. Um, just my day to day, like, headaches are gone. See, and it's amazing how you don't need medication. I never took medication, but I know a lot of people that take a lot of painkillers, anti-inflammatory stuff like that, and a lot of it is just based on the life that they live, not necessarily a condition that they can't control, but more so their type of lifestyle is leading to the need for these painkillers, anti-inflammatories, that kind of thing. I also had a comment from someone saying that after these last few months they've taken on this fitness challenge, they've cut their antidepressants in half. This is incredible. Not like they made this decision on their own. They were consulting their physician along the way, their psychologist who had, recommended that they were to be put on it. I'm not going to go into that too heavily, but I just really want to share these stories with people that, believe it or not, people love to blame things on environmental. Oh, I have to take this because of that. The environment you put yourself in is really what dictates the majority of your health. Yes, there's always going to be external stresses and pains, but if you put in the effort in the first place to limit the amount of unnecessary foods that you put in your body, you make the efforts to be healthier with more activity, your body can actually handle a lot more of those outside stresses before you need, we'll call it, pharmaceutical help. So a big proponent of that is, now let's go back to the diet. Again, this phase two is about me leaning out and bringing up the lagging body parts. I've found that what I've been eating has helped me train really well. I'm getting the results that I want, maximum pumps in the gym. What I haven't really noticed yet is leaning up as quick as I had hoped. I'm seeing a little more definition, but after 3 full weeks, I was expecting a bit more. So when we evaluate that, the answer is you either have to increase your output or decrease your consumption. I'm very happy with the balance right now for my output. I do cardio for that 20 to 25 minutes. We'll call it 75% of the days. I don't do it every day, basically depending on how busy the gym is, how much time I have in there. I don't always have the time, so I do sympathize with people who say I don't have the time. But you can't use that excuse all the time. So 3 out of every 4 days, I am doing the cardio that I say I'm going to. But I'm not going to up that. I'm not promoting any type of, you got to go all the way this way or all the way that way. No, I want balance for everyone. Maybe someday in the future we'll do extreme cutting just to show you what prep looks like for either making weight for a fight or pre-contest, that kind of thing. I will never advocate that on this channel unless it's specifically for that goal, and I want people to understand that. I want this to be so the average person can incorporate it into their life and they know what it takes to lean up healthy and in a manner that can be incorporated into your life without completely, overpowering the rest of your life. So back to the point at hand. I'm not leaning up as quickly as I would like. So it's either increase the output, decrease the calorie consumption. I'm going to focus on over here because I can control that. If you remembered back at the beginning of this phase 2, I was actually saying that I have a difficult time getting in 6 meals a day. So I started consuming those shakes that I make. Well, turns out that 6th meal put me in a really good state for building strength and muscle, but actually pushed me over how many calories I needed in the day. So what I think I'm going to do, well, actually I know I'm going to do, and I'll describe it to you, is I'm going to still consume 6 meals a day, but I'm going to knock 60 to 70 calories out of each meal. So I'm taking in 350 to 400 calories less per day, but still eating 6 meals. How about that? Sound good? We'll try that for 2 weeks. I'll watch the mirror. You can watch me training. You'll see if this results. Pretty simple. You don't even have to try it at home. You can just see how I would approach the problem of not achieving my goals. It's not a failure. I'm just going to rejig what I'm doing during the day. So all that talk is leading to this point. Let's get into what I'm going to be eating from today onwards. Still going to be 6 meals. But I'm going to show you right now what those 6 meals look like. I'm not going to bother including the calorie content. I'll tell you what's in everything, but you're not me. You might be bigger than me, smaller than me, same size. You might have completely different goals. So I'm not going to tell you what to eat. How. I'm going to show you what I'm eating and you can follow along, but don't eat exactly the same amount as me because we have completely different variables with our bodies. You can eat the same thing, but in different amounts. Like let's say when I make my eggs in the morning, if I use 5 egg whites and 2 whole eggs, and you're 50 pounds less than me, don't be eating that much. Maybe try 2 or 3 egg whites and 1 whole egg. Base it off of you. Watch what kind of results you get. You're going to need at least 2 weeks of visual tests when you make any kind of change. Don't worry about, it didn't result in anything in 2 days. Give your body 2 weeks to adjust to it. By the 3rd week, you'll already start noticing if it is working, you're going to plateau. You won't get a whole bunch more weight loss because you'll probably start reaching what that calorie intake allows you to do. So let's say right now I'm at 2,500 calories daily. I just told you I'm going to knock out 350 to 400. So that puts me around 21 and a half calories per day. That might be great for the first 2 or 3 weeks. I'll do a little bit of fat loss, lean up, but then all of a sudden I won't really lean up anymore. That's because my body is matching the calories I'm taking in. Then maybe I got to drop it down to 1,950 calories for 3 more weeks. That's usually what your body does. It does things in 2.5 to 3.5 week intervals based on your consumption versus your output. So I've been talking a whole bunch. Let's get into the first meal of the day. So we're going to start pretty simply. Got my egg whites, got 2 whole eggs. You really can't get any easier than this. I put a little bit of olive oil in here. Be careful not to heat it up so much that you smoke the olive oil because it can actually become carcinogenic. I like olive oil or sesame oil. Today I'm happy to use olive oil. So I'm not going to measure this. I know roughly what, 4 or 5 egg whites looks like. There we go. Gonna put in our eggs. Nothing fancy. Whoa, look at that. Definitely nothing fancy. Let's get those out of the way. I've got it on medium heat. Nothing special. You know what? For today, I actually feel like I'm going to add a little bit of salt. So I got this pink Himalayan sea salt. Just a couple cracks in there. A little bit of cracked black pepper. Normally, you've probably seen that I don't use a lot of salt because I'd rather use, mustard or a sauce that I make. So it's kind of just your preference. Salt isn't the enemy. You need salt for bodily functions. Just don't take in a lot. And if you have a day where you take in a little too much salt or sodium or however you classify it, just make sure to drink a lot of water. You know what I mean? Water does a lot for the body. A lot of people don't realize that the majority of their problems, whether it's regularity or their skin or even their mental health, it's all based on how much water you take in. Your digestion. If you're going to have to start eating a lot more for your type of training, you need it to digest. And before you start taking enzymes to help you digest or a bunch of different supplements, start by drinking more water. The average person needs 8 cups a day just for a sedate life. So if you're doing a half hour, 90 minutes of extra activity during the day, you're going to need to up that to almost twice as much, 12 to 16 cups. That's 4 liters. That's a gallon. Okay? You should be drinking a ton of water. When I'm at the gym, for every half hour I'm at the gym, I'm drinking about a liter of water. So if I'm at the gym for an hour, I've drank 2 liters just while at the gym. That's what everybody else is supposed to take in an entire day of an average sedate life. Don't mean to talk your ear off on these points, but I really want to hit home with them. Forget about all that stuff you can buy to try and get results. Stick with the basics first, and you'll see so many more positive results across so many different facets of your life, and it doesn't cost anything. There you go. And the time I told you that boring ass story, our eggs are ready. So there's no reason every morning you should be leaving the house without eating or grabbing some crap. Look at that. Grab a plate. Turn off the stove. There we go. Meal 1 is out of the way in 4 minutes. Second meal of the day. Couldn't get simpler than this. This is just Ezekiel bread. The nice thing about Ezekiel bread is that while it's expensive, you only really need 2 slices at a time to get really good nutrient content. There isn't a lot of crap in here. There's no sugars in here. I believe there's 13 grams of carbs in each slice, but it's mostly fiber. So each slice is roughly 80 calories, 4 or 5 of which come from protein. This is all spelt grains, sprouted grains, that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do here is I've got myself some natural peanut butter. Now, depending on what day I feel like, I'll use almond butter or macadamia butter, whatever. Just whatever you're feeling like that day. And I like to toast the Ezekiel bread just because I keep it in the freezer to keep it at its best. And toasting it not only warms it up and thaws it, but it kind of gives it a nice little crunch, which when you put all this together works really well. All right, so we brought up the clean calorie content. We got some nice fats in there. And what we're going to do now, as odd as it sounds, is we're going to turn it into avocado toast with any type of nut butter that you want to use. Now, I don't do anything special. I just do the grid pattern on these and then squeeze it out. Sorry, I don't stage my food nice and pretty. You're on the wrong channel if that's what you're looking for. I mean, if you wanted, you could mash it up and then spread it, but I like just different consistencies with the different foods that I eat. So, just put a couple of those down on this one and then a couple over here on this one. Couple on that one, back and forth. Move them around. These were actually really good avocados, so quite happy with the consistency. They're a little softer. So like I said, I could, smush them and spread them around, but I kind of like keeping them as pieces. I like the intricacies of food. You got a crunchy toast on the bottom. You got a smooth, creamy nut butter there. And then you got a little bit of a different texture with the avocados. And then what I like to put on top of all this, cinnamon. So I use an organic cinnamon. I love cinnamon. You could use nutmeg, whatever flavor pairings you like. Like a lot of people say, oh, this is so weird. Why would you do this? Well, try things before you knock them, There you go. Look at that. So what did that take? All of 3 minutes, and that's me having to prepare it on a camera. You could do this at home and whip it up together. So there's meal 2. And I guess I'll explain how my day's working. I'm going to the gym at about 11 in the morning. This is why my first meal was really clean protein. This one, a little bit of protein, but I'm getting my healthy fats and some carbs in there. And then I'm going to I'll show you how to make a pre-workout shake that I'd ingest, starting half hour before going to the gym and then going to the gym. So meal 2 is out of the way. Let's get on to that pre-workout meal 3. I don't take any kind of pre-workout stimulants. This is my pre-workout shake. It's 2 cups of a non-dairy milk, half a cup of raw oats, half a cup of cooked sweet potatoes, got my cocoa powder in there, got half an avocado that was frozen to really make it nice and creamy. And I use a scoop of a vegan protein powder. It's a pea protein powder, but what I like about it is it got a bunch of greens and everything in there because I don't eat a lot of veggies. So this is what I will have and drink on my way to the gym. There we go. Pre-workout fuel. Cannot stress this enough. Food prep is so important to the success of any fitness goal. Having the food available that is clean stops those cravings for bad food, because when you get, you're hungry and you reach for something, and if you don't have stuff prepped that gives you a healthy option, you're going to reach for some crap, and that's going to derail your fitness programs. So I harp on this so much, but understand that it is the key point to any fitness goal, and that is always have a healthy option available at home. That way, if you still choose to have some type of snack, you can always offset it by eating clean on the next meal. Here is meal 4, or my post-workout meal, and the absolute benefits of doing meal prep. Just grab one of those chicken breasts that I grilled up earlier, half cup of cooked rice, which I always keep around, threw a little bit of sesame oil on it, touch of soy sauce. And then over here, I actually stole this from a video I watched of Jeremy Buendia. You've heard me talk in the past how boring it can be eating chicken breast 2-3 times a day for months on end. I make my own sauces, but occasionally it's good to change that up as well. And what Jeremy had said was, oh, I love pickles. So what I do is I just slice up some dill pickles, eat a piece with a piece, and it goes down better. Genius. So thank you, Jeremy, for the idea. I've been doing it like this for a little while. Thought I'd hand that out there to everybody else who might want to try that. This is how easy meal 4 is. Didn't even have to prepare anything. Less than 3 minutes. Ready to put this down, get another meal out of the way. Here's meal number 5. I just prepare big batches of beef chili. So this is a cup of that and some shredded coleslaw mix, or if you don't have that, just, a bunch of lettuce or a bunch of cabbage, just as filler, just as roughage, a little bit of fiber, help everything flow through. Minimal calories here, about 330, 340, and this will comprise meal 5 for the day. Back at you with meal 6, the final meal of the day. I'm preparing 2 of these tilapia fillets at once, but I'm only going to eat one of them. That's good for about 120 calories, I believe, but super clean, very low in fat. I've actually brought the fat up by frying it in a little bit of sesame oil. I'm going to put a little bit of black pepper on and some lemon slices, and that's pretty much it. This is super easy. You can cook this up in 90 seconds. 60 seconds on one side, flip them, 30 seconds on the other. So I've just flipped them over, and for the last, 30 seconds, just going to put some lemon on for flavor. Decided not going to bother with pepper. Just going to let the flavor come through. The beauty of something like tilapia, because I'll be honest, I'm not a real fish person. I don't eat a lot of tuna, and I'm not a fan of salmon. So tilapia flavors very well. If you're like me and you don't necessarily like the taste of salmon, even though salmon is an amazing food, very nutrient dense food, if you don't like it, you just don't like it. And I'm not going to force feed myself salmon. Tilapia, I can make it taste like pretty much anything. And I love lemon or lime or anything citrus, so it's an easy way to flavor your blood orange on here is so good. Just giving you some ideas. It looks super plain, but you know what? It's just another way to enjoy your meals. So this will be my final meal for the day. I'm going to be going to bed right away. When I wake up tomorrow, I'll figure out all the macros for everything that was eaten today, and I'll have that listed for you. All right. So thanks for watching. We'll be back at you with a wrap up shortly. So that represents what meal 4's nutrition plan looks like. Let's get into the caloric values of each of those 6 meals. I'm not going to break it down, proteins, carbs, fats, that kind of thing. I'm just going to give you the total calories per meal and then the day's total calories. So first thing we did is we started out with that roughly 5 egg white, 2 full egg scramble that I did. That was about 230 calories. The beauty of that is it was almost all protein, just a little bit of fats to start the day. Get that metabolism going, breaking down some food, creating energy for what you got to do during the day. Next, meal 2 was very simple. Just used 2 slices of Ezekiel toast, some peanut butter, half an avocado, and that is pretty much an ideal, filler meal if you're not sure what to eat during the day, because you can get lots of everything you need there, and it's very clean. Calorie-wise, it's quite high, but everything in there is something your body can use very quickly. This actually yielded just over 400 calories. Now, for my current eating plan, my goal is a little lower than 400 calories per meal, but being an earlier meal in the day, I'd prefer to get more calories in then, because I'm going to end up going to the gym. And as the day progresses, I'm going to lean up each meal. There'll be less fats and carbs in them. That way, I'm just using the proteins to get my calories closer to bedtime kind of thing. So that was actually about 410, 414 calories. Then I did my pre-workout shake. That is not a, scoop it out of a big tub shake. You noticed I made it with all real food, except for the 1 scoop of a vegan pea protein powder mixed with a bunch of greens. I'm not vegan, obviously, with you see what I eat, but I like the nutrient content of that particular powder. I'm not here to promote it. You can use what you want to use if you even do want to use a powder. I just liked how many different greens are also in that mix. That's why I used it. And because of the nature of a shake, your body can absorb it really quick, which is super important for a pre-workout meal. You don't want to be eating something heavy that takes an hour or two to break down, because if you're going to be in the gym in 45 minutes, your body can only do one or two things with its blood, either digest or be active with it. You don't want it to be trying to digest while you're trying to lift or do cardio. That's not a good combination. So I had it starting about an hour before my workout, and I finished it on the drive to the workout. That shake yielded about 450 calories. My post-workout meal, I try not to bring as much fats in my post-workout. See, I use chicken, or sometimes I use fish and then some type of carbs to replenish the glycogen without too much carbs. I don't use dirty carbs during the day. I use white rice, but I'm not going to put like 2 full cups in. I'm not a pro bodybuilder. I don't need that many calories, but you do need your carbs to replenish the stores that you've just burnt out of the muscles, especially if you want to recover. That meal, the chicken and rice, was about 360, 370 calories. I'll mark to the high side, just so I know. Then I had that beef chili. I'll get into in a future episode how I make that chili. I start with lean ground beef, and it's not a lot in there. It's really just like a tomato base with some bell peppers, some hot peppers, some onions. It's very simple. But then I added the cabbage into it, the cabbage mix or lettuce mix you can use, just to add some type of crunch so it feels more filling, we'll put it, and more substance, we'll call it, so it tapers your cravings later on into the day, because you don't want to be getting super hungry before bed, because that's when you might reach for something that maybe you shouldn't. That chili meal was about 340 calories. Like, it was a perfect, that's the range I want to be for most of my meals on average. That one worked out really well. And then I finished the day with a super lean meal, which was the tilapia fillet. That was about 112 to 114 grams and almost all protein. I didn't include any carbs in that last meal. So that was 112 calories for 6 meals with a grand total of 1,912 calories, give or take 10 or 20. So as you can see, I'm under 2,000 calories. I seem to have to bring my calories down quite a bit. I'm not recommending this for you. I just noticed that I'm not leaning up as quickly as I would like. I'm not trying to force it. None of this is extreme dieting. But for me, what I'm actually going to do is, like I said, that's just over 1,900 calories. Next week, I'm probably going to try and hit 1,750 to 1,800 if I plateau with the visual look of how lean I am. Because I would like to lean up more, but at the same time, I am not going to starve myself. This was just a baseline because I wanted to make sure I could get back to having 6 meals a day. When you have to cut back on calories, don't remove meals. Try and keep your 5 or 6 meals, but shrink each meal. That's more important than eating less frequently. Because the frequency of your eating is actually what kickstarts your metabolism in the morning and keeps it going all day. You don't want to have 4 hours in between meals where your metabolism ramps up and then there's nothing for me to burn here, so then it shuts down and then ramps up at hour 4 and then shuts down. You'd rather have your metabolism going, maybe little swings all day, but it keeps burning the calories, and when it doesn't have food, it starts going into your fat stores. That's how you lose weight in a healthy manner. Not by crash dieting, not by doing 8 or 1,200 calories a day. That is nuts. Like I know some guys my size that swear by 12 or 1,400 calories. That's ridiculous. Okay, they're just hurting themselves, and that's why the moment they come off their diets, they gain 25 or 30 pounds. It's terrible. Our goal, what I'm trying to walk everyone through here with these programs, is how to lose weight, how to get healthier, and still be able to maintain it once they get to their desired weight or look or whatever the desired goal is. We want you to get there and keep it, because there's no point losing it in 2 to 3 weeks and having to do it all over again. You're just going to get frustrated. So that is my current nutrition or eating plan. I'm going to let this run its course for the next, so this week 4. I'm going to do this through week 5. I'm going to alter it a little bit. I think the first place that I'm going to remove a few calories is on meal 2, where I had that Ezekiel bread. I had 2 slices. I think I'm going to cut that down to 1 slice. That's how I'll knock that first 100, 110 calories out daily, is just having 1 slice instead of 2. But I'm going to start that next week. I'm going to keep eating this for the rest of this week. All right? So, sorry this turned into a very long-winded explanation on everything, but I want to be very thorough. If there's any questions at all, please put them in the comments and I will respond. So thanks for watching this video. We'll be back at you with some more food probably in a few days. But until then, we'll be posting more workouts and just having a whole bunch of fun. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Chris, Fit into Lifestyle, Phase 2 of the 50 Blast Challenge, and I'm out of here. Ciao.